Good afternoon, and welcome to Real Talk with Marcus McCoy. I'm your host, Marcus McCoy, U.S. Army veteran and father, and all of this is on the El Paso Black El Paso voice, excuse me. I want you guys to bear with us because we had some technical difficulties, but I promise it's going to be worth it. So we're going to be talking about tough issues, life-changing issues, and stuff that goes on in the community. And I ask you guys to bear with me and go with us on this journey. The first Monday of every month, I'll be releasing a new episode featuring others right here in the border by way of the Black El Paso voice. A call to action will always be the end result. If you like the idea of connecting with others in the community so we can stop being strangers, start growing together, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Today's episode features a podcast and show host, Curtis Smith, also known as Smitty. He's a community activist and advocate for the youth, retired U.S. Army veteran, volunteer award recipient, and speaker. Today, we're going to ask the question as it relates to raising children. What happened to the village? Now, I'm going to provide some oversight as far as my own opinion. Now, it may be often unspoken, but in Black culture, mothers were very much often expected to nurture, reprimand, and raise children of the neighborhood. This village may have been very well seen as all members of a family, whether they were raised in the same household or not, or neighbors living in the same block. In Black culture, we are one another's support system. An African proverb states, "It takes a village to raise a child." This basic responsibility has been part of Black American culture before and after slavery. Today, outside and inside the nuclear family, the village we choose has to be carefully vetted, but is needed. We would like to welcome Curtis to the show. Could you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show, and congratulations on the podcast, man. Proud of you.
Thank you.
You're doing your thing, and just continue to stay with it. And I look forward to watching your episodes every month on every Monday?
Every Monday.
That's what I'm talking about. So, like you said, I'm a retired Army veteran, activist. You know, my thing is the kids, man. I love the kids. I'm a father of three. Been in El Paso for 10 years now. Yeah, retired here. I like the atmosphere. I like the economy. Is the cost of living is good, and I love the weather. And as you said, you know, I'm all in the community volunteering, being a mentor to these young men and women out here. You know, part of a lot of organizations, as you can see.
Okay.
But you know, that's just me, just in a snapshot. You know, I'm in my master's program now, so in business.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Hopefully one day I can open up a Black-owned business in El Paso, and we could do some great things and continue to grow as African Americans or people of color out here.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive right in, brother.
Let's do it.
Okay. Some questions we drew up. Okay. Who do you believe shoulders responsibility of teaching children when it comes to these particular topics? Lack of respect for themselves, or authority figures, whether those are parents, law enforcement, teachers, and adults?
So when we talk about respect for ourselves, I think we as men and women, parents, we need to teach our children to respect themselves first, and then respect the adult figure. And we have to instill that in the young people, because it's important when you leave the house that you're respected as an individual, and then you respect somebody else as well. And I think that teaches them how to grow as young men and women out here in society. And when we talk about policing, it's not the police officer's job to police up our children. However, I think when we talk about the village, when I was coming up in Charleston, South Carolina, playing basketball in the park, the police officers would get off when they got off their duty. They would go change inside the little building and come out and play basketball with us. So we had a connection with the police officers in the community, and they were also mentors for us. You know what I'm saying? They asked us, how's school going? Do you need anything? Everything going good at home? You know, and they'd give you their card or say, hey man, here's my number. If you need anything, you call me, man. You know, if you need to talk or something like that. We don't have that anymore. I think the police force have a disconnect with the community, and how do we fix that is we talked to people downtown, we have to those people that are from those neighborhoods need to be police officers within their neighborhood where they come from. But we separate them. If they grew up in the northeast or the lower valley, they put them on the west side or the far east side. So they don't have a connection with that community. But if you put them back there and they say, "Oh man, I remember you went to school with my sister."
Okay.
I think they can impact in the community, and we can continue to rebuild what we lost when we talk about raising the village.
Okay. Now, my standpoint is I ultimately believe it falls on the parent, right? But then to a certain degree, it's going to be on the child, depending upon the age or level of maturity, right? Now, and we have a little bit, obviously me and you, we have a little bit of age gap, but we share some of the same principles, right? Exactly. I remember everything I did was a reflection of my parents. So I treated it as such, no matter what I did. No matter who I was around, I always thought that no matter what I did, it was going to be a reflection of my parents. So I just didn't want to do anything to put them in a bad light.
Right. But like they said, bad news beat you home.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so you had those neighbors that, man, by the time you got home, your mama know what you did. They was like, so what happened today at school?
Yeah,
you're like,
you already know you're in trouble. You already know.
And like they said, you might as well tell me the truth because I already know the answer. Yeah. So the consequences are going to be the same regardless if I tell the truth or I don't tell it.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And my parents always taught me the best thing to do is just go ahead and get out in front of it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the bad news already beat you home. So by the time you got there, they already know anyway.
They already
know. And my mom always said, every question I ask, I already know the answer to anyway.
It's good stuff. Yeah.
All right, next one. Now, when it comes to adult policing their own children / adults as mentors, right? Mm-hmm. How do we groom a young adults to be successful citizens? Now, it's something me and you talked about earlier too, right? When it comes to children, younger children, teenagers, all of the above, cussing, right? Mm-hmm. And do we as adults say something if a child is being disrespectful? Mm-hmm. And if we're not part of the solution, we're part of the problem. How do you feel about that?
So, with the first question, how do we police them? How do we teach them? With this generation, the millennials, and a little bit before the millennials. Mm-hmm. Back in my day, my uncles, because I had uncles. My mother was a single parent. My uncles would take me with them, show me that guy right there. You don't want to be like that guy. I went to school with him. He's still doing the same thing. 10 years later, he's still on the corner, hanging out.
Absolutely.
Well, we as adults got to show them, the difference. So when it's time to groom them, you can groom them in that way and say, don't be like this guy, be better than me because I only have a high school diploma. I know I don't have a high school diploma, so be better than me. You gotta take your kids with you. You can't leave them in the house all the time. Right. You have to spend time with your kids, and I think in that way we can mold them, because we don't do that anymore. Parents doing their thing, the kids are doing their thing. We don't do the family thing anymore. And Absolutely. A friend of mine was saying, we had a conversation. He's an older guy as well. He said the family don't sit down and eat anymore. You're in one room, I'm in the other room. We're all eating at different parts of the house. Whereas back in the day, Mama cooked it. Dinner was ready at 5 or 3 o'clock. I know some people eat 3, but 5 o'clock dinner was done. We were sitting down eating, having a conversation, and they was asking you, how was your day? When last time you talked to so-and-so, Right. It was a conversation.
So you feel like there's a disconnect in the household?
There's a disconnect in the household. Okay. There is. I mean, just ask anybody who sits down to eat with each other. You know what we doing now? And I've seen this recently. Everybody's going out to eat.
Right.
But we're not, I think we're losing that foundation of family first.
Right.
And when we talk about, what's the other question? I forgot the other question.
Oh, I got you.
I was flowing.
I got you. It was like, it was said, do we as adults say something if children are being disrespectful? I know how you feel about it, so I'm ready for you to let it out anyway, because we talked about it.
Okay. So with the new parents, you're going to end up fighting somebody because it's like you're a child yourself. Mm-hmm. You're a child yourself because you want to, I'm going to say it, you want to win the twerk party. You want to win the twerk party.
You want to be your child's friend.
You want to be your child's friend. You want to hang out with your child. Let me tell you something. My sister right now, anytime my nephew come in the same spot she's at, if it's not a a wedding or something like that, if it's a club she's at, she leaves. Because guess what? I'm your mother. I'm not your friend. You know, we can have an understanding with each other, but you want to respect me as your mother, and I'm gonna respect you as my son. You know, even though he's an adult now, still we can't party together.
Absolutely.
You know, we can sit down and have a conversation, have dinner or something like that together, but to sit down and be at the same club drinking together, and we got to stop that. And I think that's where it starts, because I can't correct somebody's child when you're standing right next to them and allowing them to cuss.
Absolutely.
And they cussing with you. You're like, wait a minute, who's the parent and who's the child? You know,
Right.
Some parents, we can look on YouTube. There are kids, teenagers cussing at their mothers, and their mothers like, they're 15, their mother's like 30, 35.
Right.
So we like you said, we're trying to be the friend, but we're not establishing that instilling that discipline in our kids.
Absolutely.
We lacking the discipline. We have to instill discipline, because they feel like, and I'm be honest with you, you know, hey, I done got my head knocked off a couple of times. I done got the wind slapped out of me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm all right. Back then, I
survived.
I survived.
And you better for it.
That wasn't child abuse. Now, they can call the Department of Social Service. They can call the police on you. And you as a parent going to go to jail for instilling discipline in your child. I'm not killing them. You know, I'm just letting them know you're not going to talk back to me.
Right.
When a parent speak, you listen. That's the bottom line. That's it. So when you're out in public, me being who I am sometimes, and if I know the person, I'll just look at the child like, who are you talking to?
And you know better on
And
top
you
of
know better.
That's part of the big part. You know better.
Because the parents are looking and say, no, I got him. Because sometimes they say, well, parents my age, they're like, okay, I got him. Don't worry, when he get home, I got that.
Right.
You know, but right now I'm not going to embarrass him like my parents embarrassed me, because I got an uncle, brother. Wherever my cousins acted up, they was getting it, bro. And I felt bad for him. Like, man, uncle, you could have waited till you got home to tear him. He tear him up right then. Take him, pull his belt off, and whoop him in front of. I was like, oh my God.
Right.
My grandma hated that.
Different day and age,
Yeah.
but you can also say that got results.
Yeah.
But like for me, I feel like when it comes to grooming young people for success, I think there has to be a conscious investment on the adult's part, right? But you said something that I just was thinking about. So myself, right? I'm a young parent, right? So I had my first child at 19, right? And sometimes I feel like, not necessarily for me, but because there's such a close gap in age, right? You basically, my mom always say you got a baby with a baby.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm basically a younger man trying to show, I'm still trying to become a man myself, but then I'm also trying to show this younger man, you know, how to be a man. Yeah. So we basically, in a sense, I always say, like, me and my son, we basically grew up at the same time.
Right.
So it's sometimes hard as a younger parent, you know, and I'm not saying I didn't have any mentorship, because I have, both of my parents are great. Right. But sometimes it's harder being a younger person. You're still trying to figure yourself out, and you're trying to be the parent at the same time. Yeah. So it's a difficult position to be in, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I'll tell you, I'll go a little further with that, with me and my daughter. I don't, because of the way I was raised, I never disciplined my daughter. I let her mama do it. Right. But when her mother had forced me at one time to do it, I was like, oh my God, that's my baby. I can't do it. But what happened was, you know, I spent time with her. We came from school. I said, hey, what do you want to do now? She said, well, let's go to Chick-fil-A and have some lunch. Okay, cool. So we went Chick-fil-A, and I took her to the little game thing, the game room. We played some games. So we got home. Her mom came home and said, how was school today? And she said, fine. She said, you sure? She said, yes, ma'am. Then she said, Curtis, did you check her homework? I said, yeah, I checked the homework. I signed the book and everything. I looked at it. So she said, tell me what happened at school today. She said, nothing. She said, listen, what happened in school today? So finally my daughter confessed that, you know, she said a bad word in class. So I'm like, oh God. So then she said, handle it, Mr. Smith. I said, me?
Now you Mr. Smith.
I said, me? She was like, yeah, you. I was like, it's all right, I'll handle it. So I kept watching TV. So she got, took her shower. She just got from work. She took her shower. She getting everything ready. Dinner was already cooked because I was home. And she said, hey, Did you take care of that yet? I said, I'm gonna get to it. She said, no, because she got to get ready for school tomorrow. So you need to handle that before she. So long story short, my daughter went upstairs. I said, hey, go upstairs. So I talked to her. I said, why you had to lie to daddy, man? You just told me we could have talked it out. I could have handled this for you. You know what I'm saying? She was like, I'm sorry. I said, okay, cool. I said, but I got to do what your mama said. I don't want to do it, but go ahead and assume the position. So like the movies, I gave her 3 good chops, and I left it alone. I said, hey, just
3 good chops.
Yeah, with the belt, I chopped her 3 times, hit her on the bottom 3 times. So I left her. Her mama said, what was that? And she went in there and whooped her. I said, I couldn't do it. But like you said, I just didn't want to do the same things my parents did to me, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, I felt like, I felt like a slave, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, they whooped you. They didn't care where the belt went. You got it. If whatever you messed up at, you got it. You know what I'm saying?
But then, like what you just said too, that's part of like you always feel like you want to do better for your kids, right?
Right.
And I think that's part of like the generational gap too, is you always want to, like say, do better for your kids, or even like from this standpoint, right? So being a father, right, and having a daughter, right, like that relationship sometimes is different for the father and the daughter versus it is for the father and son.
Yeah.
Vice versa with the mother and the daughter, and the mother and the son.
Yeah.
Because you're like, that's my baby girl, that's my baby, baby. It's just different.
Right.
You look at not saying you love them any less, but you look at your daughter probably different than you look at your son. Mm-hmm. Those are different type of conversations you got to have with different sexes, children according to what sex they are.
Gotcha.
Now this is definitely an interesting one, right?
Right.
How does an adult gain trust with another adult they don't know, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes to trusting them to be a part of the village for their child?
I would say get to know them. That, like, for instance, your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you right now, I talk to my neighbors, but I don't know my neighbors. And none of my neighbors have kids. They have animals.
Okay.
They got cats and dogs.
Right.
But if I lived in a neighborhood, whereas I had a neighbor that had kids, good morning, how are you? My name is Curtis. When I was in Columbia, a guy, he yelled from like two houses down. He said, hey, bro, how you doing? I'm looking like, who are you talking to, yelling like that? I said, hey, how you doing, sir? He said, hey, I ain't never seen you around here before. I said, this is my house. I'm in the military, so I come home frequently, but this is my house. I live here. This me. He's like, oh, okay, nice to meet you, man. Hey, we got a barbecue. You want to come by later on? I said, well, thank you. You know what I'm saying? It's things like that. I think building a relationship with the person, mm-hmm. getting to know them and say, hey, I see your son all the time playing football. And this is where I built relationships. I'm just using Virginia, where I built relationships with right. people because I was in a school. I was part of the PTA. It's called PTA back then. I don't know what it's called.
It's still called a PTA. I got young kids, so it ain't changed. It's still PTA.
So I got involved. You know what I'm saying? I had my nephew, so I got involved. I was involved with his sports. So I didn't just, after the game, I just rolled out. I was like, hey, Marcus, how you doing? Your son played football too? Hey, man, what are you doing on the side? Just in case I run into your son in the school and he's doing something that I see inappropriate, I can pull him to the side and say, hey, man, what would your dad say if he saw you doing that right now?
Absolutely.
And he would be like, but he already know that you and I have a rapport with each other. So I'm going to tell you if I see, hey, man, I saw your son, I just talked to him a little bit, And I think, but you can't yell at somebody's kid because you don't know them like that. Mm-hmm. Because, like you said, the new millennium parents, they'll say, come to me, I'm the adult. Mm-hmm. Tell me what they did wrong. They might not necessarily handle it the way you would.
Right.
But I think we have a responsibility as an adult to be mentors to these young people to show. I think when we do that or say, hey, young man, you got all these adults in the room. Why are you cussing like that? Just let me talk. Just talk to me. You ain't got to yell. Hey, just pull them to the side. I say, can I talk to you for a second?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, see all these adults in here, man. Why are you cussing like that?
All right.
What would you want somebody to cuss around your mama like that?
Absolutely.
See what I'm saying? When you put the mama, like you said, on a young man, they'll kill for their mama.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So if you say, would you cuss around your mama like that? they'll look at you and say, oh, I apologize, sir. Now, me being the age I am now, they call me OG. You know what I'm saying?
But then if you look at it too, parents to a great degree,
Yeah.
They trust other people with their kids every day. If you look at it, like you
Right.
go to, you go to the school system, right?
Right.
Like, so let's say you got a kid in school.
Mhm.
To a great degree, you gotta trust those people, those adults at the school, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think there's a discrepancy between whether it's a structured environment or unstructured environment? Because we do it I know I do it every day with my own kids going to school.
Mhm.
I'm placing some level of trust in those adults in that school system that they're gonna make sure my kids are safe. They get home, they got there safe,
Right.
they get home safe, and that they're teaching them
Mhm.
the right way to behave, so to speak.
Right. What I do is, and I'm just using my nephew because when I was in Virginia, I was his guardian. What I did was I established a rapport with every teacher that he had, the principal, the vice principal. I went in there and said, hey, I'm Curtis Smith. My nephew's Kareem. If you need anything, you need any help around, volunteers, let me know. Here's my number. He gave me his card. The other vice principal gave me, hey, well, thank you. We need more people like you.
All right.
And in the same token, guess what? His friends became a part of my family. And then I had to once they said, well, can I ride with you to go so and so? Well, call your mom first, or call your dad. Oh yeah. And then we meet each other, say, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing, Mr. Mack? Hey, I'm Curtis. This is my nephew Kareem. I see they hang out. So he's like, yeah, I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So we build a rapport with each other that way through the school system.
Right.
But in the school system, I think that, like you said, when you entrust your child to the school, you have to you have to do that face to face, so they know this parent wants to be involved. This parent is concerned about their child's education, their well-being.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if we do that anymore. But like I used to tell my sister, you can't run to the school when he gets suspended. You got to run to the school periodically and check on him. Like for me, I would spend time in the lunchroom with my nephew. I just pop up at school, say, what time your lunch? Oh, I'm about to go to lunch now. My daughter, same thing. I would just pop up.
Yeah.
My baby boy, same thing. He'd be like, Dad, what you doing here? He looked shocked, like, what you doing here? I was like,
but that's part of being invested, like you said.
Yeah.
But before we get too far ahead, listeners, I want you to know to place your thoughts and comments in the section, and we'll get to them. We'll put your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll get to it before the end of the show.
Yeah.
Because we definitely want to get your thoughts and your feedback. Well, I don't want to go too far without saying that.
Yeah.
Now, here's the next one. So, what gives us as parents the rights to say something to anybody's children?
We want to be the village. That's it. We're the adult. We want to, and this is what I would tell them. If somebody come to me and say, well, I'm the adult, you come talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say, well, how can we as a village protect our kids if we not on one accord? Why do you think it's okay for him to act like this and me not say nothing because you're not around?
Right.
I'm being the parent while you're not the parent. You know what I'm saying? I'm protecting that person while you're not being the protector, because you have to work 2 jobs, or you have a night job that you can't, you have to get ready for your job, and you can't be that parent right now. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a single parent, or single father, single mother. So I'm just trying to be your helpmate. That's it. I'm not trying to take over your life and run your house. I'm just trying to build a better community by being that village that you need. I'm trying to be the person that you can support, that can help you out from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't want to, but you got to have that communication with that adult, because, like I said, I've seen some things, man. I've seen parents not be parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
They want to be the friend first thing, and then another time they want to cuss the kids. You know what I'm saying? When I say cuss them, it's like, can you not talk to your kid without cussing at them? Just because, listen, my mother cussed a lot too.
Right.
Just when she got frustrated. So you can speak to a child without cussing them. You can talk sternly to a child without cussing them. My son, I just ask him, why are you doing that? My facial expression says it all.
All right.
I don't have to say a lot. Now, his mom, in turn, she got to talk a little strong.
A little different.
So with me, I just call, and I have a conversation when he's a young man. He'll be 10 this month, so
Right.
he's getting to the point where I know I have to make a couple more trips to South Carolina more often than I normally do because he's a boy, and he's gonna give us some trouble. I already know that. I see it in him already. So
Right.
I think that with the question that you asked, I think we just gotta. Me being an adult gives me the right. Me being an adult, me being I've traveled the path that you're trying to travel.
Absolutely.
So you got to tell them that I've been where you're going, but don't let your child. Then when he's on TV or she's on TV, oh, not my baby, but I know you, so I know you wasn't being a parent to your child. But when I tried to step up to prevent this from happening, you cut me off. So now everybody's like hands off. Okay, that's your child. Now you the talk of the town because your child on Live 5 News, or 7 was the Channel 7 News, like what? Not that boy. Yeah, exactly. But when I was the one saying, hey, let's get him involved in sports, I think, just my opinion, with this age group, with the millennial children, the ones that are coming up, I think we have to keep them involved, actively involved, whether it's volunteering, sports, reading, social organizations.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to keep them involved, and I think that'll get them ready to be an adult because you get to see a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? We have to branch out and do different things with them, but I think me as an adult, I have the right. You know what I'm saying?
I 100% agree with you. I think just the fact of being an adult gives you the right to say something to that child. Like you said, you've already been there, you've done it, you got a T-shirt, right? And ultimately, you're trying to, like you say, you're trying to steer them off the path that you already been on, whether it would be good or bad, right? And you always want to steer them in the right direction. But something else you just made me think about too, right? Is you said the relationship that you have with your neighbors, right? Now, me personally, like where I live at, my neighbors are pretty standoffish, right? Now, we're talking about the village. How do you feel like, besides, just actively communicating with them, how do you feel like you bridge that gap with your neighbors if you're trying to have that village? Because you got to realize they have different viewpoints on how they raise their kids, just all that kind of stuff. Like, how do you think we get back to where, hey, look, you know what? This is my son, this is my daughter, this is my family. These are things we like to do. Let's integrate together and then like build that strong foundation. How do you feel about that?
Well, I would say this. El Paso is different.
Absolutely.
El Paso is different because you got a diverse environment, and some people don't take too kindly to other races. So, with that being said, I would still introduce myself. If I was new to the neighborhood, I would introduce myself. That's the first and foremost. So they know who I am. Now, same thing I said in the mornings when you walk and speak to each other, whatever. To bridge that gap, and let's use El Paso. It would be hard because where I'm from, you have black neighborhoods, you have suburb neighborhoods, you got the projects, so different neighborhoods. I think that with this culture out here, it would probably be a lot harder. So I think that we should still the community centers. I would probably use the community centers,
like the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, those type of.
Yeah, I would use that, and then I think from there, they say, "Oh, you live next door to me. Oh, how you doing?" You know what I'm saying? They might, you get cool with the male. Y'all cool with each other. They might invite you over for the barbecue or the quinceañera or whatever. They might have a family gathering or watching the game or something like that. Hey, we got the game on. You want to come over and watch?
Right.
Just to get the feel of them, because people are different these days. You got to be careful with who you allow in your house as well.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't let everybody in your house.
Absolutely.
So I think with that, I think with El Paso, I would use the community centers to establish those type of relationships. I would go down there and maybe play some ball with them or just, take my kid down there and see how he interacts with everybody else. And when they come to get their kid, they say, hey, I seen you around. I live on a block over there. Yeah, okay. And then I think once y'all see each other a lot more, then I think they'll be more receptive of reaching out to you and trying to build that village.
Okay. Now on that same line, right? As far as the village,
Mm.
you know, we live in an era now where, hey, look, I don't want you to be in my business.
Mm.
You don't, you know, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So if we don't want to be in each other's business, right? That's another barrier that stops the village from being the village. You would agree on it,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
So if we can't come together and be in each other's business, so to speak, how can we bridge that gap as far as that too? You think it's more of an ego thing or more of a cultural thing, or like what's your viewpoint on it?
I think it's a millennial thing. It's a millennial thing.
I can agree with that.
Because back in the day, we didn't have those problems. You know,
Right.
Man, you would have the block parties, or you smell the barbecue. Man, you could walk next door and say, "Hey, what y'all got going on back here, man? You know, I'm gonna bring me a bottle. I'm gonna bring me some Coke Malt with Coke 45.
That's that Billy D. Williams. They don't know nothing about
bring
that.
Me some Miller Highlight over it. Come on, you know what I'm saying? And we just, oh man, but we don't see that no more. I'll be honest, we don't see that no more. It's crazy. Like, but I'll tell you, my neighbors in my neighborhood, they're pretty cool. When they throw up the grill, they say, "Hey, you know, Curtis, hey, we got something. You want to come get a plate or something? That's fine." You know, I'm like, okay, cool. Most of the time I don't want, because I don't eat everybody's cooking. I'm very picky. But I'll sit in
just like you don't eat everybody potato salad either,
exactly.
Right?
But I with raisins in it. With raisins in it.
We ain't gonna talk about that.
Yeah, raisins in potato salad. Yeah. I'm just.
Yeah,
recently just happened to me. So I was
gonna leave that. We gonna leave that there.
Raisin in the salad. Where we do that at? You know what I'm saying? But
apparently here, that's the answer.
I'm just saying.
Remind me not to go where you going at for your potato salad. I don't want to be nowhere near that.
But okay, so El Paso is very diverse. So I know Hispanics, I know whites, blacks. You know, I hang out with everybody. If they invite me, hey, I come over. But I look at food before I eat. I'm like,
but raisin in the potato salad.
I'm just saying, they was tearing it up. It was good to them. I was like, yeah, I'll stick to this chicken.
That's a new one right there.
I'll stick to the chicken and the tacos. And yeah, let me get that right there. Put some cheese on it. But all that other stuff y'all eating, no, we're not eating that. The shredded chicken, the shredded beef, but all that other stuff, no.
Right. No. All right. Before we bring the show to a close, is there anything you want the listeners any specific message you want to pass on to the listeners?
Yeah, I do. Listen, here in El Paso, we have, and I'm a podcast host for Sweet 915 along with It's Me Fedora. We come on Sundays at first and third Sunday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So check us out. No topic is taboo. I just want to throw that in there. I ain't trying to steal your thunder, but yeah.
It's all right, brother. Go ahead.
But listen, we have so many scholarships. We have so many scholarships that's available to the young people here in El Paso. And I encourage you as parents to fill out those applications. If you know somebody that has a senior in high school, I encourage you to print it off and have them fill it out and get it back to the organization. May 15th is the Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. They have a scholarship. The Alphas have a scholarship that ends, I want to say this month. The Omega Psi Phi have a scholarship that ends this month. Delta Sigma Theta has a scholarship that ends this month. The Martin Luther King community has a scholarship that ends in June. I think it's June. What's it called? It's another organization. I forgot. The Phyllis Wheatley have a scholarship. Their scholarship ends the middle of the month. So parents, do what I did. I'm gonna just tell you what I did. I helped my daughter out. I filled the application out and made her sit down and do the essay. I did everything else for you. Hey, sometimes you gotta feed it to them. You know what I'm saying? You gotta spoon feed it. You know
and it's free. It's free money on top of it for your children.
Listen, $7,500 of free money I got my daughter last year for school, just first semester. $7,500 because I took the initiative to say, "Did you fill out?" She said no, and I just spoon fed her. Hey, I did this part, and I do your part. So we gotta work together, parents, to get these young people the scholarship, education, saving you some money. All right.
I want a caveat on that. As far as the scholarships, I've seen myself personally, and this is what I'm gonna say is more geared toward no discrimination. It's more geared toward the young males in El Paso, right? I seen last year there were a lot of scholarship opportunities, and many of the young males in El Paso did not even apply for scholarships. Again, it's free money. It's a great opportunity to get ahead. Education is not cheap. And it's just a great opportunity to do something better with yourself, basically. The one thing I do want to say is back to as far as the village. Everybody plays a role in the village, right? And as long as we all take that investment, then we could get back to ultimately being a village. So next month, I want you to.
We got comments.
Oh, we gotta go. I'm sorry. we gotta go to the comments.
Yeah.
Let's see what comments y'all got out there.
Yeah.
They're either going out to eat or everyone is eating in different areas of the house.
Okay.
That was one of the comments based on what you said earlier.
Oh yeah, definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
But we gotta fix that though. We gotta fix that in our own.
We gotta
household.
get back. I think that's the time to build a relationship with your children, is sitting down and eating together.
Absolutely.
You know,
we have the hard conversation sitting at the dinner table. How was your day? What did you do today?
Yeah. And like with that comment, let me add to that. Turn the TV off.
Unplug the TV.
Put the cell phones down.
Put the TV in the garage.
Put the cell phones down and let's have a conversation. How was your day?
From Elizabeth Ramirez. El Paso is majority Hispanic community, and there can be a distrust because of what is seen and heard on the news and seen in everyday life with police and minority communities.
Yeah.
I definitely.
So we talked about this, and I think we as a community needs to have a conversation with the police department. But it seems like the police department don't want to sit down and have a conversation with us.
True.
And they don't want to talk about what I just brought up. Like she was saying, there's a disconnect and distrust with the community and the police department, but they don't want to sit down and have a conversation with us and say, okay, tell me, how can I make your community better? But once again, somebody that grew up in your community, they got them on the west side, which they're not familiar with that community. They're just there to do their job. Now, oh, well, I'm on the west side. So I can do my 12 and get on out of here.
And like you said, it's just a job to them.
Yeah.
And when it's just a job and they don't have the stake of that or the investment in that community, they're not gonna do the best job by that particular community.
Yeah. So I think if when they come out of the school, I think they need to go back to the community in which they lived. If they're from El Paso, and you'll see a difference. People will reach out to the police department and say, hey, Melissa, so and so is over here doing. And they'll come and talk to them.
Absolutely.
They won't necessarily, you won't get the things you see on the TV where police are pulling out guns and because hey, I don't know you, but if I know you, you're like, wait a minute, guy, what school just come here, get your butt over here. You know what I'm saying? And they'll take you home. That's the worst thing. Back in the day, you get brought home by somebody from the police officer. Man, listen, you won't see outside for about a month. You won't see your friends outside for a month because now you really embarrass me.
Absolutely.
And thankfully, I never had that happen, but I've seen my friends, because we was doing some things we wasn't supposed to be doing, and he got caught.
But you do when you young, they say youth is wasted on the young. I definitely believe it. Or here's another one on that same topic, right? How about we have more? Well, obviously it would be up to the police to have these conversations, right? But we have more conversation with the police on what they see as their viewpoint on how to interact with the police in general,
right? Because
there's a big disconnect and misconception on those type of things too.
Yeah. What's your next comment you have?
From OJ Hamilton. I think that is a great point. Our officers do have a disconnect with the communities they police. From Jamar Red, you can't get a different result doing the same things.
Absolutely.
That's a good comment. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna steal that quote.
Yeah, but
Mr. Red.
But we gotta do things, and we gotta press the envelope to put people in the position and hold them accountable where we get different results.
There you go. Say that.
From Jasmine Walker, I think the dynamic of raising children has changed in general with all of the Amber Alerts and whatnot, and it made parents hyper vigilant when it comes to our kids.
So that's a great point.
Mm.
And she also said, I think that's where the mentality came in to stay out of people's business and stick to your own folk.
Okay.
So
Okay. I still think it's the age, like you said, a child raising a child.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that a lot of times from the older generation of parents. You know what I'm saying? That's why for me, I was, what's they called, fast.
No,
I was
no,
fast.
you was managed.
I was managed.
Fast is the opposite.
I was
fast.
I was managed, but thank God I had an uncle that was a big brother and a mentor to me, because anytime I went to him, he would ask me, "You have sex?" I say, "Uncle, man, why you asking me that? You having sex?" Yeah, I got this little honey I like, you know what I'm saying? So what he would do, he would go in his bag and give me some condoms. Listen, man, you don't want to have kids before your time, because it's hard being a parent, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard being a parent. You see how your mom struggle having you know, so it's hard being a parent. So he was my big brother and my mentor, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate everything he's done for me. And in turn, I took some of the things that he gave me and took it and put it in my part of my parenting.
Oh, absolutely.
Same thing with my grandparents and my mom and them. You know, certain things I took from them, and then, like you said, some things I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I think I could still be a good or a great parent if I did this or I did that. You know what I'm saying? I want to tell my kids I love them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, have a good day when you go to school. I can tell you some days my mom didn't even know I went to school. You know what I'm saying? Because either she was gone already, or she was still asleep when I left. So It wasn't have a good day or nothing like that. You know, when I came home, it was, hey, take them school clothes off and get them chores done. You know, it wasn't, how was your day? I got that from my grandmother and my great grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Or my auntie and them. Hey, how was school today? You know, hey, it was cool. You know, got any homework?
It's definitely learned behavior.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, even whether you pay it, whether anybody knows it or not, you always, even if you feel like nobody's watching, you're modeling to somebody.
Yeah.
Old, young, somebody's watching. So you just got to be cognizant of things you do. I mean, El Paso, basically, you know, we just want to get back, you know, to be in the village, and it takes everybody's help to get there.
But what I wanted to ask is, with the comment that she made about this being a Hispanic community, the traditional Hispanic family is what I knew was they were the ones that always sat down and ate dinner together and took care of each other in their neighborhoods. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask her, where did that go? Because like she said, everybody's eating out, to include Hispanic family. Everybody go out to eat. And I was like, that's not traditional. Everybody, because that's how you knew what was going on. You know who had a boyfriend, who had a girlfriend, because they sat down. And maybe, you know, the movies depict what used to be, but isn't anymore.
I'm gonna tell you what I think for my personal opinion, right? For minorities in general, I think a big part of it kind of died with our grandparents, right?
Yeah.
Like your grandmother and your grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know my grandmother and grandfather were alive. Like they were the glue that held our family together, right? Yeah. So it was nothing for me to be a kid and go over my grandmother's house, my grandfather's house. And that's what I learned, like the majority of stuff about life. Yeah. Just being at my grandparents' house. Yeah. Like my granddaddy, God rest his soul, he was the coolest guy I ever knew. Yeah. He chewed Levi Garrett, pretty smile, but he would just take the time to tell me about life stuff. Yeah. And sometimes when you have those giants in your family, when they die off, a lot of that tradition, it dies with them. Yeah.
I think we as the new generation got to pick up the torch. But see, we ain't old like that. You know what I'm saying? And with us, you know, I'm gonna tell you, I talk to my nephew almost every other day, and I'm still mentoring him, even though, like I tell him, don't make the mistakes that I made. But he's a father, man. I love the way he treats his kids, man. He loves his kids, and he's a part of it. He does he's like the mama and the daddy. Sometimes I look at, because last time I was home, I was teasing. I said, man, you the mama and the daddy. You know what I'm saying? You feed them and put them to bed, and you know, while the mothers is at work, he's doing both things. And you know, my nephew KJ, he's just funny. That's my dude. He funny, man. But he understands. My nephew don't have to say too much to him. He already know. He stays on him, but then I tell him, you don't have to yell at him all the time.
Right.
Just pull him to you and just talk to him. You give him that look, he know you're not playing with him.
Right.
So the parenting tools that I had, I'm trying to instill in him, because I said, just because your mama cussed at you, you don't have to cuss at him.
Yeah, don't make it right. But then it goes back to the learned behavior. Yeah. So just a little thing to look forward to. So I want you to join me next month, where I'm going to be talking about the effects of being judgmental. Ooh. Don't forget to like, subscribe on social media. Follow me and I'll follow you back at Real Marcus McCoy. Like and follow Black El Paso Voice. Visit my column, blackelpasovoice.com. Until next time, El Paso, it's been real.
It's been real. Oh, yeah. Ooh.